Hey everybody, it is Nathan Selove. I have been very sick for the last few days and I'm still kind of feeling really crappy, which is why I am doing this on my camera. I didn't really have the strength to set up all of my lighting equipment and such, and I wanted to make sure that I made a video before we left for our conference, which hopefully I'll be well by then. But I did want to make a video about this topic because I've been seeing a lot more about this among the autistic community and in some YouTube comments, and that is the idea of people that are self-diagnosed or don't have an official diagnosis of autism yet. Now, I understand some of the arguments that people make when they say that autism is sometimes, there's too much diagnosis of it. People are very quick to diagnose autism these days. People say that you shouldn't try to armchair diagnose someone, and the idea of accepting someone as autistic, even if they don't have a diagnosis, kind of contributes to the idea of armchair diagnosing. And I hear those arguments, but here's my issue. Oftentimes, people that have autism don't necessarily have access to a diagnosis because of other situations. Perhaps there's the fact that people are less likely to get a diagnosis if they're a person of color, if they're a female, if they're an adult, if they're of a lower socioeconomic status. And that does not mean that they don't encounter the struggles that come with autism. It just means that they don't have an official medical certification specifically saying that these issues are related to this disability. Now, I know a lot of people that are self-diagnosed autistics that very clearly demonstrate the struggles that come with being autistic, and they want to try to get a diagnosis. They often ask me, how do I get a diagnosis? But thus far, they have not had the resources in order to get that diagnosis. For example, I've recently started, Jess recently gave me permission to start talking about the fact that she's autistic. Now, this is something that we have known for a very long time, but she just recently got a diagnosis for. And that doesn't mean that before she got that diagnosis that she was any less autistic or that she didn't have some of the struggles that she had as a person on the spectrum. It just means that she hadn't had access to those resources, partially because she's an adult, partially because she's a female. So don't delegitimize a person's experiences just because they don't have that official diagnosis. You don't know their experiences, and I would actually argue that the armchair diagnosis of not being autistic is just as problematic and hurtful as an armchair diagnosis of someone being autistic. So make sure that you are not automatically inclined to question someone's legitimacy as an autistic. I'm usually inclined to believe someone if they tell me they're autistic because I don't know their struggles. I don't know them outside of the what they put on, the version of themselves that they put on in public, and who am I to make that value judgment? And I would encourage other people to do the same. So send me your thoughts on this. I'd like to hear your comments. That's today's video. Thank you all for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a like, a share, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Check out some of my other stuff, and I will see you next week. Hopefully I'll be able to actually talk.